Welcome, enlightened ones. Let's elevate. You know what's interesting? At some point in life, you start noticing something that used to slide right past you. The way people treat you. The way some people show up only when it benefits them. The way others slowly drift away the moment you stop overextending yourself. And one day, it hits you. You were never asking for too much. You were just asking the wrong people. That realization changes everything, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You start recognizing the silent negotiations you were making with your own self-respect. You start seeing the moments you shrank yourself just to keep the peace. Moments you explained yourself over and over, hoping someone would finally understand you. Moments you chased clarity from people who were comfortable giving you confusion. And if we're being honest, most of that chasing never brought peace. It brought exhaustion. Because chasing people who are unsure about you is one of the most draining experiences a person can have. You start questioning your value. You start overanalyzing everything you said. You replay conversations. You wonder if you were too direct, too quiet, too honest, too emotional, too much. But here's the truth most people discover much later than they should. People who truly value you do not require you to shrink in order to stay. They don't require constant convincing. They don't require you to prove your worth like you're applying for a position in their life. And the moment you understand that, something powerful begins to shift inside of you. A quiet strength, a new boundary, a new mindset, a simple phrase that carries more power than people realize. Let them. Let them misunderstand you. Let them doubt you. Let them walk away. Let them believe whatever story helps them sleep at night. Let them. Because the moment you stop fighting to control how others perceive you, you take your power back. So many people spend years trying to manage other people's opinions, trying to correct every misunderstanding, trying to make sure nobody is upset, trying to keep everyone comfortable. But there is a cost to living like that. The cost is your peace. The cost is your authenticity. The cost is your growth. Because the truth is, some people only like the version of you that was easier to control, the version of you that tolerated more, the version of you that stayed quiet when something felt wrong, the version of you that carried emotional weight that was never yours to begin with. And when you begin changing, when you begin setting boundaries, when you begin choosing yourself, some people won't celebrate that evolution. They will resist it. They will misunderstand it. They will call it arrogance. They will call it distance. They will call it attitude. But what they are really reacting to is the loss of access. Access to your energy, access to your time, access to the version of you that accepted less than you deserved. And this is where the let them mindset becomes life-changing. Because instead of explaining yourself endlessly, instead of begging people to see your intentions, instead of bending yourself into uncomfortable shapes just to maintain connections, you simply step back and you say, let them. Let them feel however they choose to feel. Let them believe whatever they want to believe. Let them distance themselves. Let them reveal who they truly are. Because people always reveal themselves eventually. Always. Sometimes through their loyalty. Sometimes through their silence. Sometimes through the way they disappear when you stop overgiving. And that information is valuable, not painful. Valuable. Because clarity saves you years of emotional confusion. Think about how much time people spend chasing closure from the wrong sources, waiting for apologies that never come, waiting for accountability from people who never take responsibility, waiting for explanations from people who benefit from your uncertainty. But closure does not always arrive through conversations. Sometimes closure arrives through acceptance. Acceptance that someone showed you exactly who they are. Acceptance that you deserved better. Acceptance that your energy deserves to be invested where it is respected. And that acceptance becomes freedom. Freedom from chasing. Freedom from convincing. Freedom from constantly proving your value. You begin to understand something that changes the way you move through life. Your worth does not increase through someone else's recognition of it. Your worth was never dependent on their approval in the first place. And when you internalize that truth, The desperation to be understood begins to fade. You stop performing for validation. You stop arguing with people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop shrinking to keep fragile connections intact. You start protecting your peace instead. Because peace is expensive. Peace requires boundaries. Peace requires letting some people leave. Peace requires letting certain misunderstandings remain uncorrected. Peace requires trusting that the right people will see you without constant explanation. And once you begin prioritizing peace, your entire life begins to reorganize itself. Your circle becomes smaller, but stronger. Your time becomes more intentional. Your energy becomes more protected. You become more selective about where you invest your emotional labor, because emotional labor is real. And many people spend years giving it away to people who never planned on reciprocating it. The let them mindset breaks that pattern. It teaches you that not every situation deserves your intervention. Not every misunderstanding deserves your correction. Not every departure deserves your pursuit. Sometimes the most powerful response is simply allowing people to make their choices and observing what those choices reveal. Because when you stop interfering with people's behavior, their true character becomes impossible to hide. Someone who values you will show it. Someone who respects you will demonstrate it. Someone who does not will reveal that too. And when they do, let them. Let them distance themselves. Let them talk. Let them underestimate you. Let them create narratives that make them comfortable. Because none of that changes who you are. None of that alters your purpose. None of that reduces your value. What it does is filter your environment. It removes the noise. It removes the people who only supported the version of you that was easier to benefit from. And once that noise fades, you start hearing something much more important: your own intuition, your own truth, your own direction. You begin realizing that so much of your previous exhaustion came from trying to manage things that were never yours to manage. Other people's perceptions, other people's emotional reactions, other people's expectations, but you were never responsible for carrying all of that. You were only responsible for living with integrity, living with self-respect, living with authenticity. And the moment you begin doing that, something remarkable happens. You start attracting people who recognize that energy, people who respect boundaries, people who communicate with honesty, people who appreciate who you are without asking you to become smaller. But that alignment cannot happen while you are still chasing people who are determined not to see you clearly. Sometimes growth requires letting certain doors close without banging on them. Sometimes elevation requires accepting that not everyone is meant to travel the entire journey with you, and that is not bitterness. That is wisdom. Because every stage of your life reveals different versions of people. Some were meant for the chapter where you were still learning your worth. Others will meet you in the chapter where you finally protect it. And protecting your worth sometimes means allowing people to leave with their misunderstandings intact. Not because you cannot defend yourself, but because you no longer feel the need to. Your peace is more valuable than endless explanations. Your growth is more valuable than maintaining connections that require you to shrink. Your future is more important than dragging unresolved dynamics into the next chapter of your life. So when someone decides to walk away, let them. When someone chooses to believe the worst about you, let them. When someone distances themselves because you stopped tolerating disrespect, let them. Because the people who are meant to understand you will not require endless convincing. They will recognize your heart through your actions. They will see your integrity through your consistency. They will value your presence without demanding you sacrifice your peace to keep them comfortable. And when that kind of alignment enters your life, you realize something beautiful. Letting people go was never a loss. It was space. Space for healthier connections. Space for personal growth. Space for the version of you that refuses to negotiate self-respect ever again. Because once you truly choose yourself, once you truly protect your peace, once you truly embrace the power of letting people make their choices without chasing them, your life becomes lighter, clearer, stronger. And that strength does not come from controlling others. It comes from mastering yourself, from knowing your worth, from standing firmly in your boundaries, from walking forward without needing everyone to understand your journey. And that is real power, quiet power, unshakable power. The power of someone who finally understands that their energy is sacred, their time is valuable, their presence is not something to be begged for or negotiated. And the moment you live from that understanding, you stop chasing, you stop over-explaining, you stop performing, you start evolving. You start building a life that reflects the respect you have for yourself, and anyone who cannot meet you at that level, anyone who cannot respect the boundaries that protect your peace, anyone who only valued the version of you that tolerated less than you deserved. Let them go. Let them walk. Let them misunderstand. Let them doubt. Let them watch from a distance as you grow into the person you were always meant to become. Because the people who are aligned with your truth will recognize you without confusion. They will respect you without resistance. They will stand beside you without requiring you to abandon yourself. And until those people arrive, you keep moving, you keep growing, you keep protecting the peace you fought so hard to build. You keep choosing yourself, every single time.